This time we'll see commands to do operations such as fill a shape containing holes, how to make use of a new knife option, and how to weld meshes together, along with several other commands. This video will cover the remaining options in the face menu apart from Intersect Boolean and parts of the Face Data submenu. While Intersect Boolean and the Boolean modifier will be covered in the next video, the Face Data options will have to wait until we reach the material and texturing videos. Fill, we covered various fill options in video 40, but this is a more restrictive version, which will only fill a ring of connected vertices. More than one face is likely to be created since all new faces are tries. But unlike the previous fill option, this one can correctly fill a mesh containing holes. The last op panel contains a single checkbox labeled Beauty. This is checked by default and tries to create a more organized set of tries within the filled area. If we unselect it, we can appreciate what a good job it does. Grid Fill. This is another command covered in video 40. It is particularly useful when trying to fill a contoured ring of vertices. Beautify Faces attempts to adjust the geometry of the selected faces to create a cleaner topology. The last op panel's Max Angle specifies the maximum angle between the faces attached to an edge. Where the angle exceeds this value, the edge cannot be adjusted. You are unlikely to need this option unless you are importing a 3D model created elsewhere, as in the example shown here. Intersect Knife. To use this tool, we'll want to create two primitives in a single object. For example, here we start with a cone, then in Edit mode add a plane. Because we added the second primitive while working in Edit mode, it becomes part of the same object as the cone. Now we'll rotate and move the plane. To demonstrate the intersect knife operation, the cone and plane must partially overlap. With only one of our two primitives selected, we can now perform the intersect knife operation. Notice that we get a new set of selected vertices on the surface. In fact, there are 3 vertices at each location, 1 on the cone and 2 on the plane. If we select each island of vertices and move them, we can see the new shapes we've produced. The operation creates a last op panel with 3 parameters. Source gives us 2 choices. To the right is Selected/Unselected. This default option tells Blender to cut the selected area, in our case the plane, into the unselected area, the cone. The other source option is Self-Intersect, and this means that the cut can only occur within the selected area. If we use this option, we have to select both the plane and the cone before performing Intersect Knife. And the result we get is the same as before with 4 different islands. Separate mode has 3 choices. As we saw, using all gives us identical results irrespective of the source setting. Cut with source set to self-intersect gives the same 4 islands achieved using all. But when source is set to selected/unselected, only 2 islands are produced, the selected elements in one and the unselected elements in the other. When separate mode is set to merge, all the faces at the intersection point become part of a single island irrespective of the source setting. In our example, that means that our whole object becomes a single island. Solver allows us to select the logic used to determine the position of the new vertices. Float is quicker, but less accurate. That option also introduces a new field, Merge Threshold, that can allow nearby vertices to merge. Exact uses more accurate logic positioning the new vertices, but takes a little longer. Weld Edges into faces. This option allows us to add or weld one or more edges to an existing face. For example, you may remember from a previous video that if we join two vertices using the F option, the newly created edge does not divide the existing face. However, if we select the face and the new edge, then this operation will add the new edge fully to the geometry, splitting the original face into two faces. In another example, we could place a circle near the face of a cube and use the weld operation to place the vertices and edges of the circle onto the cube. Note that the circle does not have to be touching the cube's face. Shade Smooth and Shade Flat sets the selected faces as smooth or flat, depending on the option chosen. We saw the same operations available in the Mesh menu. Face Data has several options. As we said earlier, we're skipping the first 4 of these until a later video. Flip Quad Tessellation. This needs a bit of background information. When we create a mesh, Blender stores all quads of the structure as a set of tries. This detail is hidden from us and won't normally be visible in the 3D viewport display. Executing Flip Quad Tessellation switches which 2 vertices in a quad are linked to create those hidden tries. Normally, when we execute this command, we won't see any change in our display, since, as we said, the tries Blender creates are hidden from us. However, it is possible to see the effect if we switch on Wireframe in the Viewport Overlays panel and add a triangulate modifier to the mesh. The last 2 entries of the submenu control freestyle edging around selected faces. We looked briefly at the freestyle effect, which is created in the final render in Video 82. To demonstrate the use of Mark Freestyle Face, we'll start with a cube. In the render page of the Properties editor, we'll check Freestyle and set the thickness to 3 pixels. By pressing 0 on the numpad, we can check that the cube is within the frame of the render camera. Pressing the same key a second time will return us to the standard view. Now, if we select one face of the cube and choose Mark Freestyle Face, we can see that the face shows in green when deselected. This tells us that its edges have been marked as freestyle. However, if we render the cube, no addition pencil lines are shown. To fix this, we need to go to the View Layer page and check Face Marks. Now, any edge on the selected face that does not visibly share that edge with another unmarked face has a pencil line. Clear Freestyle Face removes any freestyle face marks previously created for the selected faces. You can see from the Properties panel that there are many more characteristics that can be set. However, we won't be covering this topic further in this set of videos.